a dead man's dream, got me torn at the seams in the liar's chair. Crazy days of living the use left me tattered and bruised, nowhere to land. Long road of sleepless nights, better hold on tight to the steering wheel. Running down a dead man's dream, got me torn at the seams. Got nowhere to land, nowhere to land. Got nowhere to land, nowhere to
That's what I'm talking about, everybody. Mr. Cory Coons, Long Road, Dead Man's Dream. And that's got that jing, that chime that I was just telling you about, my friend. Thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Oh, it's been great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We were talking off air a little bit, that analog, that digital sound, what makes that unique and that warmthness. And maybe that's what we were talking about, your engineer, a little bit about your producer in the background. And let's hear some of that cool stuff that you have.
Yeah, if you're a fan of 70s and 80s music, I mean, Ron Nevison was actually he was one of the in the top 5 producers in North America, rated, in the top 5 for many years, and did all that amazing stuff that you talked about earlier with the very melodic rock bands, like, anything from Heart and, Styx and Night Ranger, Survivor,
yes.
Bad Company way back, and The Who, and even back to Zeppelin. He did Led Zeppelin too. He was, mixing and engineering those bands and stuff. And so he's, definitely very old school when you think about the analog type of thing. I mean, which was amazing because that type of sound, you just, you don't often hear it anymore. So, but often with the new stuff, you kind of have to use a blend of the two different worlds now, digital and then the old analog. So, but there are a lot of bands out there that still, record on tape. Some of the big bands that are still doing it, still do that too. So,
and we were talking a little bit, it's kind of like you say, when the digital world, it just squares off on the top. I mean, you have a little distortion on the analog world, but I guess that makes a little bit smoother sound, you were saying?
Well, yeah, there's something about the way they say it, that when you send it to tape, the way it hits tape, they call it. When the music hits tape, there's a certain sound that you can get, and if the volume is a little louder and the signal's hitting a little louder and you're pushing that, then it's just like a natural distortion that can happen with tape, whereas you can't get that in digital. And you just basically lose the sound in digital. It just breaks up to nothing, and you lose it totally. So it's a different kind of distortion, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the main differences that I've been told about anyways. I'm not a pro on that, but basically I love the sound of old analog, and anything we can use that kind of, even if it's something that's, simulating that, it's always kind of cool. Because today they can come up with a lot of stuff, and they can make stuff sound really cool, but just the process of it all, though, the old analog way, even in the way bands used to record, everybody actually played the songs and recorded their parts and, played stuff through and, did things not just punch in and go back all the time. And, that sort of evolved into that throughout the 80s, too, once the advent of 24 tracks came along, I suppose. But, now it's endless. You can just, you can kind of get into your own, worst hole or something, and you can kind of just keep going and going and going, and never know when to stop with these unlimited tracks on songs. And I think you lose the innocence of it, maybe.
You can keep redoing your song. You can keep adding this little part, and they're not there. You just keep adding these instruments in, or whatever it may be, or play them. Exactly. I guess should it be? But
yeah,
that's the other question. I talked to some other artists about how the time of digital, the new technology, when you used to have to play your setup, your rig. How different is that today? The tools that you have compared to what you had with the microphone or the plugs and all that, with the wireless. Does that make a better sound, or a little difference on that?
It's crazy with PA systems and the way things are digital now and what they can do. You have a sound guy who just takes his little, almost like a laptop, little screen around with them, and just basically your soundboard is right there, and you just your fingers move everything up and down, and running sound from walking around the room, and like everything's just so advanced.
Yeah.
A lot less wires, and a lot. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's better. I suppose in some ways with time saving it is. I'm not sure if it's sound wise any better, but it is what it is, and we just kind of got to go with the flow, right? So.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine. I guess I was thinking too. He's a piano gentleman, and he was saying that in the old days, we have to tune your pianos, everything you go, because they get out of tune back in the day. Now you have all these little monitors and little equipment that'll tune it up nice and easy for you, And that, he was saying, was a challenge back in the '60s and the '70s.
Well, yeah, that plus the size of the keyboards that they had to cart around, like those big B3 Hammonds and stuff, and like those are amazing with the Leslies and stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get all that now in these little like keyboards, that's all simulated, and those sounds are all right there, and they're so close to what things sounded like. It's amazing in that way. That's totally amazing what they can do now. But I think I'm kind of like, I'm old school, and I like that sort of old style of thing, and I've always like going back and looking at the way things have been done, and I love records still, and all that. So anything that's like old, I'm intrigued by it. So
yeah, I'm working in the schools a lot, and I like looking around all the old speakers they have in all the auditoriums, and a lot of the older buildings. It's got they're talking in the 40s and the 50s, and to see all that stuff, and I love that, the old history, because we come from 45 records and the old spindle in the middle,
I know. I'm actually thinking of doing either a double, a two-sided single like they used to do, like a 45. I'm actually thinking of taking a couple of the songs off the latest record and sending them to my into Indie Pool in Toronto. That's the company that I get to manufacture my CDs and stuff.
Right.
And they do vinyl. They do vinyl as well, and I'm thinking of doing that and just getting some singles for nostalgia sort of thing,
Well, I appreciate that, Cory, because I think you responded. I thought that too, because I started playing a couple songs from you guys. Because I could play this thing 5 hours, actually, let it roll. But I wanted it to find a way to get songs get lost, in the hours, just to highlight your songs. So I came up with the side A, the side B, that old school RPM promo kind of thing to put your songs out there,
Yeah, I love that.
And it's all good fun and a lot of stuff. So I'll tell you what. Great conversation. We will be right back. Let's keep it rolling. The 7-year itch. Ooh, this is my favorite. Listen to that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks.
I've been fighting with the 7-year itch. It's got me thinking, ain't life a bitch? Hear the calling of the wanton man in the garden of the gypsy king. And the fountain of youth runs dry. Can't deny it, what you're feeling inside. Map your seasons with the circling sun. Don't let your music die alone and unsung. There's a face inside of every man's dream. You can't see it, you just got to believe. Turn the pages in a book with no name. Lying, waking, not to fade away. Mask your innocence to hide your fear, even though it's drawing ever so near. Heed the warning, now the time has come. Don't let your music die alone.
Thank you, sir. I love that tune. How you doing, Cory? Welcome back to the show. Thank you.
Doing great. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah. All right, Cory Coons is my fabulous guest from Canada. We're hanging here in the States. Tell us what's going on with the band. You said you knew a CD coming up real soon, or what do you have going on?
Well, I've always got stuff in the works. We're going to do another single from the latest one, from Long Road Home, probably another month or two. Probably do another single for that. I've got some stuff I'm kind of going back a little bit. I did a record. It was released in 2010. It was kind of like a sort of a career-spanning thing for my music from 1999 through to 2010. Sort of a mix of some stuff I did with my classic rock group called Cory Coons at the time, and then my solo stuff all combined onto one sort of like 20-song compilation album that I released. And it was only released like, very minimal hard copies and stuff, and I never really pushed it digitally and got it out onto like iTunes and Spotify now, which seems to be just kind of killing it. I guess everybody's doing Spotify, and so I'm gonna maybe just kind of do like a reissue of the retrospective album, which it was called, and maybe just push a song or two from that sort of in between while I'm going to release another single off the new record, so just to kind of keep things flowing and just do that independently maybe.
When you guys get out and perform, are you going to do a lot of, what's it like in Canada? Do you have a lot of festivals in the summertime? I know I talked to Jackie and Andy from across the board, and they traveled on the Canadian train actually over the Christmas season.
Yeah, that was pretty cool for them.